everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. I'm your host, Jessica King, and I wanted to say a quick thank you for joining us today. As you probably know, November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and throughout the month of November, Kelsey-Seybold Clinic, in partnership with the American Diabetes Association and Lubies, are working together to beat diabetes. This is one of 3 webinars we will host this month, focusing on preventing and managing diabetes. Today, we'll discuss what you should and should not be eating with diabetes. Today's speaker, registered dietitian Humaira Maqbool, will go over some of these foods as well as some tips for a healthy diabetic diet. Here's a little more info on today's speaker. Humaira is a registered dietitian with Kelsey-Seybold. She practices at 2 of the Kelsey locations, Clear Lake Clinic and the Pasadena Clinic, and she has been with Kelsey-Seybold for about 7 years. Don't forget, we'll be taking any questions you may have at the end of the webinar. If one happens to pop up, just type it into your question box and we'll do our best to address it at the end of the presentation. And now I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thanks, Jessica, for giving me a chance to touch base on this wonderful topic. Good afternoon. Before I touch the real topic, I would like to go over the important goals to help manage diabetes with diet and exercise. But basically what we want to do is watch what we eat, how much, focus on the portions and timing. Second, limit your meals consisting of high cholesterol, saturated fats like fried foods, fast foods, greasy foods, and concentrated sweets. Third, limiting foods that are really highly processed foods like canned soups, canned vegetables, TV dinners, deli meats. Last but not the least, exercise, which is very important. Routinely, you want to do it routinely, 35 to 45 minutes to control weight as well as improve your blood sugar. So, starting with food groups, carbs, proteins, and fats. There are main 3 food groups we'll be discussing. What are carbs? They all turn into sugar. You all know it. Main source of energy though, so we do need carbs to help our body function normally. It's divided in 3 major groups: starches, fruits, milk, and yogurt. Then we talk about proteins. They help as building blocks for tissues to build and repair during wear and tear of muscles. Also increase your immune system. Also slows down the absorption of sugar when consumed with carbohydrate foods. And then last is your fats. We do need fats as they help with padding and maintain temperature of our body. So let's discuss what all are the starches. It consists of grains, cereals, breads, beans, some starchy vegetables, and crackers. What all are the grains? Pretty much we all are familiar with it. It has a big window. Popcorn, your rice, your barley, grain, quinoa, couscous, buckwheat, you name them. There are a lot on the list. All grains are good for diabetics. What's important is how much we can have per meal. They are high in fiber, which also helps to slow down the absorption of sugar in blood. Talking about cereals, hot cereals, oatmeal, bulgur, grits, cream of wheat. They're your most of the hot cereals. Better choices, your old-fashioned steel-cut oatmeal or bulgur, or the rest as they have more fiber in it. Fiber is your best friend, so you want to stay up with the fiber as much as you possibly can. Cold cereals, unsweet or non-sugar coated cereals with 5 to 6 grams of fiber or more are your better choices over sweet or sugar coated cereals. Then talking about breads, again we look at the fiber, 3 grams or more of the fiber are your better choices, like whole grain, whole wheat, English muffin, tortilla, thin buns, pita, they all come under your better choices since they are high in fiber. Other breads that are made with highly processed flours with little or no fiber, those breads will be your biscuits, croissants, hamburger buns, hot dog buns, bagels, pancakes, waffles. Probably not a good choice. Doesn't mean you cannot have them, but when you have them, you have to really focus on the portions because they will increase the sugar in your blood. Beans and starchy vegetables. All kinds of beans and lentils, green peas are your good choices of carbohydrates. Again, they do also provide us with some protein and fiber, so all good in them, but portions still matter. Starchy vegetables, what are those? That's your corn, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, parsnip, plantains, winter squashes that include your acorn, butternut, pumpkin, spaghetti, and hominy. They're good for us, but they are not our vegetables. Doesn't mean we cannot have them. When we have them, we want to focus on the portions since they do contain starches that turn into sugar. Our next slide is crackers and snacks. Again, look for the fiber content. Whole wheat crackers, non-fat added popcorns are your better choices, or butter type crackers, saltines, sandwich style crackers, animal crackers, graham crackers, pretzels, rice cakes, butter popcorn, or movie popcorns. So that takes care of our starches. Then we go to the second group of carbs, which is fruits. Again, you can eat any fruit you want. Portion does matter. So small apple, small orange, small peach plum. If it's a banana, small 4-inch banana or half of a regular banana. Grapes, strawberries, any kind of berries, blueberry, blackberries. Um, Honeydew, cantaloupe, watermelon. Those are the fruits that are good for us. Yes, like I said, again, portion does matter. So as long as we stay on the portions, choose your fruit that you like. What you really want to limit or avoid preferably because they have high concentrated sugars and shoot our blood sugar way up, or canned fruits that are in their regular sugar syrup, juices, even 100% juices, unless otherwise the doctor, or sometimes your blood sugar goes low and the doctor does say, hey, when your sugar goes low, have a little juice so that it can pick up your blood sugar. That's the only time we recommend to go with the fruit juices. Dried fruits, Kool-Aids, Gatorade, or other sports drinks made with regular sugars, preferably you want to limit them. Then we come to the last group of our starches, the carbs, that's milk and yogurt. Preferably low-fat milk or whole milk. Regarding yogurt, you can do plain yogurt or fruited yogurt, Greek or non-Greek. When you do fruited yogurt, preferably go with the light over regular because of the sugar content in there. And it doesn't matter if you do Greek or non-Greek. Difference between Greek and non-Greek is Greek yogurt is a little bit higher in protein. Non-Greek is not that high in protein. It gives you 1 ounce of meat. Greek gives you 2, sometimes maybe 2.5 ounces of meat. So depending on how much protein you need, that's how you would pick your yogurts. Then we come to the real good part, the best part that everybody loves and it hates us, is the concentrated carbs, or we call it simple carbs. These are the foods that we should preferably avoid or limit for occasions. However, portions still matter. It consists of cakes, cookies, pie, pudding, chocolates, ice cream, granola bars, sherbet, frozen yogurts, jams, jellies, and regular syrups. Non-starchy vegetables, whatever we didn't discuss in the starchy vegetables, rest all are your non-starchy vegetables. What's good about it is that you can have most of the meal coming from these vegetables. Like we say, half of your plate should be full of these vegetables. They don't give us much carb, but they are loaded with fiber. They slow down the process of emptying stomach, keeps us full for a longer time, so we don't get hungry. And also what they do is they also help maintain blood sugar by slowing down the absorption of sugar in blood, and that's a plus point. So go higher with them as much as you possibly can. Choose the vegetables either frozen or fresh, not over canned, and that would be your better choice. Next, we move on to the protein. So these were all our carbs, and the second part would be the protein. Again, protein is animal-based and plant-based. Animal-based proteins has no carbs at all, whereas plant-based proteins do have carb in them. So it doesn't mean you cannot have them just because they have carbs, but when you have those proteins, make sure you count it as a carb as well as a protein along with it. I'm mainly divided in three main groups. That's lean meats, medium fats, high fats, and we will discuss them as we go on. Lean meats, what does it consist of? Is your poultry, fish, shellfish. Among the poultry, chicken or turkey without skin would be a better choice. Cod, flounder, haddock, halibut, tuna, salmon. Among the shellfish, clams, crabs, lobsters, shrimp. And other sources are your egg whites, cottage cheese, beans, peas, lentils. Now these will be your carbs as well as proteins. So that's where you will focus on your carb content as well when you consume it. Moving on to the lean meats also, among the beef is your lean trimmed, which is trimmed with fat, like round sirloin, flank steaks, your tenderloin, roast rump chunk, T-bone steak or cubed or your veal would be your better choices. In pork, you can have fresh, boiled ham, tenderloin, centerloin, chops, poultry, chicken or turkey, dark meat with no skin, or white meat with skin. They all are your lean meats. Now the lean meat substitutes. Again, baked beans, garbanzo, kidney, lima, navy white, lentils, whether they are brown, green, or yellow, peas, black-eyed peas or split peas, even green peas come under that section, and tofu. Other than tofu, they all are your carbs plus protein. The reason I put them there is some of the diabetics are vegetarians and they don't eat meat, so their big question is, where will I get protein from? And these are their best sources of protein. They also, of course, give them carb, and they're also high in fiber, which makes them good. But like I said, portions do matter all the time. Tofu is one thing that is not your carb. It gives you just protein, but it is a substitute for your meat. Then we move on to the medium fats. They're a little bit high in the fats and cholesterol. So if you're watching your cholesterol, your fats, of course, that would be something you can do, but you can watch how much of that goes on in your daily basis. What all come under your medium fats? That's your beef. Most beef products fall into this category, like ground beef, meatloaf, corned beef, short ribs, prime grade of meats trimmed of fat, such as prime ribs and stuff like that. Pork, top line chop, Boston butt, cutlets, among the lamb ribs, ground. Poultry, dark meats with skin, or ground turkey, or ground chicken, fried chicken with skin. Fish, any fried fish or products, other fish like eggs and are high in cholesterol, so you want to limit them to 3 per week as per American Heart Association. Regular tofu, again, it is uh, uh, your meat substitute, which you can use if you are vegetarian. Um, and then we move on to the high fat meats and substitutes. Um, because of the high saturation of the fat, you want to really limit them, especially the meat portions like pork, spare ribs, ground pork, sausages. Watch for how many grams of fats is there when it's processed differently. So some are very lean sausages and some are really high fat, so look for those. Bacon, whether it's pork or turkey, bacon is bacon. It doesn't really matter. It's your high fat meat. Hot dogs, again, look for how high they are in fat, whether it's turkey or chicken or beef or pork. It doesn't matter if it is high in fat, more than 8 grams. That comes under your high fat meat. Cheeses that are made with regular milk, like American, Blue, Brie, Cheddar, Hard, Goat, Monterey, Queso, Swiss, or your high saturated fat cheeses or your meats. As regards to the substitute, peanut butter, hummus, falafel, that's what we can use if we don't eat regular meat to get that protein from there. But you can do it either way if you don't want the regular meat, or if you like the meat and you still want to do hummus or peanut butter, no problem. But they do come under your high-fat meats as well. Then we come to the last portion of the food groups, as those are the fats. Divided in 3 major groups: mono, saturated, polyunsaturated, and your saturated. So monounsaturated fats, what do? They help lower our bad cholesterol, that's called LDL, and increases our good cholesterol, that's HDL. What are the sources? That's avocado, your canola oil, nuts, almonds or cashews, pecans, peanuts, olive oil, your olives, black or green, peanut butter, peanut oil, and sesame seeds. They're all good for you, and then you can use them with the portions, of course. Polyunsaturated fats, they help lower cholesterol. Sources are your corn oil, cottonseed oil, safflower or sunflower oil. Among the nuts is walnuts, pumpkin or sunflower seeds. You can use the margarine in the tub, that is your polyunsaturated, and your salad dressing. Then we talk about omega-3. It is still your polyunsaturated, but it helps with lowered triglycerides and a risk for heart diseases. What all comes under that are your albacore, tuna, mackerel, herring, rainbow trout, sardines, and salmons. And plant-based, it would be your tofu, other soy products, walnuts, flax seeds, and flaxseed oil and canola oil. And then we move on to the unhealthy fats. That's where your saturated fats come in. What do? They all help with increasing our blood cholesterol levels. Sources are your lard, fat bags, salt pork, high-fat meats like regular ground beef bolognese, hot dog sausages, bacon, spare ribs, high-fat dairy products like ice cream, whole milk, and sour cream, mm, cream sauces, gravies, butter. Also your chocolate, palm oil, palm kernel, coconut and coconut oil, and poultry skin, they all come under your saturated fats. Moving on to the trans fats, what are the sources? They are basically all processed foods have trans fats. Uh, Crackers, chips, cakes, cookies, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, your margarine that are in stick form, shortenings, fast food play things like, especially the fries or onion rings, they all come under your trans fats. Then we talk about cholesterol. Sources are your high-fat dairy products, whole milk, ice cream, full-fat cheeses, egg yolks, liver, or any other organ meats, and high-fat meats and poultry skin. They all are help increase your cholesterol. Last but not the least, now we know what to eat. What can I drink? That's a big question that comes to my mind, and that's what I'm asked most of the time by the patients. Well, water, water, water. We all love water, but it loves us also. So go higher with that. You can squeeze lemon or lime in it. A lot of people say, I don't like the taste of water. Squeeze some lemon or lime, you'll be fine. Unsweet tea, coffee, diet soda here and there. Don't just gulp a lot of sodas. Even if it's diet, doesn't mean it's all good. And other low caloric drinks or drink mixes would be okay. Or you can even put Crystal Light in water to give it a different taste. That'll be fine. Um, the drinks that you really want to be careful with are the drinks that are made with regular sugar, because that tends to increase your blood sugar. Regular sodas, punches, fruit drinks, juices, energy drinks, sweet drinks, and other sugary drinks. Questions?
So we have some time for a couple of questions, and I think I want to get started. So there's two different types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Should this diet regimen go for both types, or is it more for a type 2 diabetic?
Diet regimen is okay for both, but with type 1 they have a little open window that they can have a little bit more carb, and they, depending on how much insulin they take, they can kind of crank it up and kind of balance what they eat. Okay. Type 2, we don't have that window.
Okay. I know the last slide talked about drinks, and we didn't hit on this, but what about alcohol? It should always be in moderation anyways, but are diabetics allowed to drink alcohol?
They can drink alcohol, but like you said, moderation. Even if they do a drink a day or two, be if a meal, does a couple of drinks a day. Make sure that they do alcohol with the meals, not as a separate. But if they do one or two a day, they're fine. But when they sit down over the weekend and have whole crate in front of me and start drinking like bottles and 5, 8 bottles a time, or even 12 packs a time, well, that's where they hit it hard on themselves and they can land into the problems.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, somebody's asking for the PowerPoint to be sent to their email. And just so everyone knows, we record our webinars and we post them to YouTube after. And if you registered for the webinar, you will get the link in an email. So you can go and re-listen to it if you missed something or if you wanted to go back and touch base on something. Here's a question. This person usually cooks with a lot of herbs and spices. They want to know if they need to cut down and watch what they use now that they have diabetes.
Well, herbs, they are your free foods. They don't have any carbs. You can use as much of that to add the flavor. You're fine.
And someone here has read that coconut oil is good for you. Why is it listed as an unhealthy for a diabetic here?
I know there's a lot of things going on, especially with the coconut oil being very hyped up. It is still a saturated fat. It's not mono or poly. So not much studies have been done to prove that it's all good, that we can replace all good fats with coconut oil. If you want to use it very moderately and you're probably okay.
Is caffeine an issue, like iced coffee or anything like that?
Caffeine is not an issue if you are just diabetic, but if you have problems with heart and other things or GI problems, well, it will irritate your gut. Probably you want to watch coffee if it's a black coffee or stuff like that. But being diabetic, if you drink a cup of coffee, that should not really bother your diabetes if sugar substitute is used in place of your regular sugar.
Somebody here has celiac and a soy allergy and the inability to tolerate artificial sweeteners. Is there any advice on that?
Well, with celiac, usually they don't do the starchy foods that has, usually they will do non-gluten or gluten-free foods. Can you repeat the question again?
Sure. They have a soy allergy and inability to tolerate artificial sweeteners.
And if they are diabetic and they can't do artificial sweeteners, unfortunately they don't have much choice, but try to see if they can do without using any sugar, or there are some like other trivia, or they have other sugar substitute, not sugar substitutes, but they're very close to the sugar, they can use it. But if they feel like no, it doesn't work with them, it bothers them, then their best bet is just leave it alone.
Okay. Do you know if certain alcohols tend to spike sugar levels, or is it just alcohol in general?
It's alcohol in general. Like I said, they will all do it, but if you want to drink it, just drink a drink or maybe two along with the meals, and you should be okay.
I know in one of the slides we listed a bunch of cheeses that were unhealthy for you. Are there healthy cheeses that we can incorporate into our diet?
Sure. Our leanest cheese is your cottage cheese. The other cheeses that are good for you out there is mozzarella, feta, baby bell, string cheeses out there, or the Laughing Cow cheese spread. They are your best choices.
Okay. Someone here has read that sweet potatoes are a healthy alternative to white potatoes in terms of raising blood sugar. Is this true, or?
Right. Sweet potatoes or white potatoes, they're both your carbs. Okay. Sweet potato has some fiber in it that helps to regulate the sugar that goes in your blood very slowly, or white potatoes that shoots your sugar way high very fast. So yes, if you have to choose between the two, sweet potato is your better choice. Focus on the portions. Again, it is your carb. It is not a vegetable.
Okay, speaking of portions, is there a place that we can look to see what portion sizes we should use? Like, is there something on the ADA website, or?
There are lots of sites. Yeah, ADA has a website and they have specific diabetic sites that they can go, and they will have portions on all the foods, all the carbs as to what their portions will be regarding whether it's coming from starch or fruit or milk. It's all defined there, yes.
Okay, and I think it is 12:30, so that is all the time we have for questions today. I want to thank you, Humaira, so much for doing such a great job.
Thank you.
Also to all of you for joining us on the presentation. We hope this information was helpful to you about the best and worst foods for a diabetic diet. Don't forget to go and visit kelseybeatsdiabetes.com for more information about our month-long campaign, and also register for our other 2 webinars that we're going to have this month. Next Wednesday, Dr. Tom Thomas will go over new diabetic treatments you should know about. And then Wednesday following that, Rhonda Elsenbrook will go over how to dine out with diabetes, so when you're at restaurants or out and about. Also, during the month of November, dine at any participating Luby's restaurants in the greater Houston area and try one of their featured healthier menu options. And consider making a donation to support the diabetes research and programs. Don't forget to follow us on social media and join in on the conversation. And that's all I have for y'all this week. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.